I am the Commissar, that's my name. Forged alliance forever, that's the game. And who have we got with a claim to fame? Today, it's a 2v2 ladder match with the cold team in the northwest and the hot team in the southeast. In the rear position for the cold team, we have White Owl, 1517 rated, Eon in dark blue. And in the forward position for the cold team, this is BlInChIk, 2057 rated. He is Cybran in baby blue. And their mirrors. In the rear position for hot team, we have FunkOff, 1724 rated, Seraphim in burgundy. And in the forward position, we have Aranei, 1741 rated. He's Eon in bright red. Quick look at this map, which is a generated map of size 15 by 15. Lots of mechs scattered everywhere. Big chunk of reclaim here. That's a vast amount of tank wrecks. Decent amount scattered around here. Decent amount scattered across the middle too. So engineers will want to come everywhere. FunkOff not happy with his opponent's rating. I believe these two are actually a pre-made. I'm not certain about that though. Anyway, as well as that reclaim, there's mechs dotted everywhere. There's a couple on this plateau, a couple on this plateau. These are plateaus which you have to drop up to. You can just about drive through there. You can't drive through there. So that may be important later. And there's these little ponds in the middle, which might be an opportunity for some Salem play if you're a Cybran, but might also not. First and second air build for Aranei. Same for FunkOff. Same for BlInChIk. And, oh look, what a surprise, we've had first and second air for Owl as well. I'm not seeing any super early aggression yet. I do expect this reclaim to be contested as soon as possible though. Quite the batch of Selines heading out here from Funk. And there is the transport we theorized would happen, and it's happening indeed. He is... He appears to be heading just here. Maybe he's stopping off to unload at this point before heading on down. We have an early bomber from Funk. Where is it going? It's going over here. You would think you would expect it to be that this would be where the drop would go, just as it is. But he doesn't. He's heading more this way. Looks like a couple of the Selines are coming in here. So there's still a couple of units on board there. He's only dropped NGs here. The bomber, though, that gets an expanding NG, which is nice, denying those two mexes for a while. Little air scuffle up here between Aranei and Owl. That bomber's picked up a second NG. And this Celine is coming to see what it can do about the position here. But there's already a land factory there. And the bomber's coming back as well. So definitely Funk knows something's up here. Aranei very far forward, and we'll have a look at him in just a moment. pops the radar. That NG hides behind the factory pretty well, and the lab on board the transport takes out the Selene. Funk tries to drop the transport with fighters, but the transport lands. So, good play from Blin securing this area. However, there is a Selene cloaked and hiding here, just waiting to ambush an engineer that comes that way. Aranei setting up a factory over here with his comm while his spam heads up this way. And Owl has dropped here and here, but he hasn't tried to drop the gigantic reclaim patch. Maybe he doesn't know about it. Going by the position of the scout, Aranei is certainly expecting someone to be there. Will Funk uncloak his Selene and try and kill this engineer? He hasn't yet. And there's an amount of spam from Owl coming down towards Aranei, who will probably hold it off. Both comms presently naked. Blin's comm has not left his base at all. He's just producing heaps upon heaps of land factories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 land factories planned. That's quite a lot of land factories. Now this Selene uncloaks, and it is going to pop the NG before that mech goes up. But some units here are going to be able to hunt it down easily enough. Aranei and Owl facing off here. The drop that Owl put here has been cleaned up by Aranei's tanks, but that means Aranei's tanks are over here, and his comms over here, and he might have something to worry about if Owl gets within range. Owl's already got Tech 2 land. I don't think we got it for Aranei just yet. Blin still relying on his spam, and Funk still at Tech 1 as well. Now, Blin is getting a few little raids in here past Funk's comm. And he's beginning to reinforce it with that vast wave of spam. Aranei has brought his comm back, and he's bringing his spam out. And he could win some victories here, but I don't think he'll threaten Owl if Owl comes across to shoot it. Now this is turning into quite the run-by, and Funk has got himself unfortunately outflanked. He's dropped a bunch of engineers down here, which is setting up a little emplacement, which is nice. Turret, factory, mechs. And Funk starts heading for T2, but this looks like trouble for him. He's lost these mechs, and he's about to lose this cluster of mechs in his mid. Aranei also going for gun. Starting with the speed upgrade. And also going for land. Funk is not at all happy about what's happening to him. He thinks he's going to be dead very soon. He has been surrounded quite badly. And look at this damage to him. Look at his poor eco. Both the cold team are doing better eco-wise than both the hot team. They have a 50 eco lead, as in half as much again eco as the hot team, which is pretty brutal at just 9 minutes into the game. And these tanks head on in for Funk's base. He's putting up energy storage so he can overcharge, but he's diverting some boys to building this point defense, and I think he needs it. There's no artillery in here, so if he can get the point defense up, it should defend. He's also getting bombers out for defensive work, and his comms heading forward. Funk is calling these, I think. Yeah, he's calling these a waste of units. And they come out because they certainly aren't guarding anything there. And we'll also notice that not only has Aranei come here, he's dropped up here and taken it off White Owl. So, good play from Aranei there. Funk has a few T2 mexes. That was only T1. Yeah, look at that reclaim. That was only T1. Bit of friendly fire damage there, but he doesn't lose any of his T2 mexes, and he does clean out the invasion, but he's still got this area to recapture, and Aranei's going for the full gun upgrade on his comm. Owl's still naked. BlIn's still naked and back in his base. So Funk should be able to deal with this with his comm, but again BlIn is sending another column down the other side to run him by, and it's probably going to hurt. Ooh, Funk getting salty there. Didn't see the reclaim until you already had it. It wasn't a fair fight. I mean, this is a ladder game, so the map's completely new to BlIn too. Bit of raid coming down here. There is a PD here, but it doesn't matter as BlIn pulls back to face the units here, and Funk is dropping an Ilshi in order to defend. That'll probably clear these up because Ilshi is pretty neat. But we've got a large horde of units, including some blazes coming down for Owl here. This is still mostly T1 for Aranei. In fact, I think it might all be T1. But he has got an Eon full guncom, and Owl has also upgraded to an Eon guncom, though he hasn't got the advanced range yet, so Aranei has the slight advantage there. Are we going to see a bit of an engagement here between Aranei and Owl? Meanwhile, BlIn pushes down here, but Aranei has units in position to counter it. And BlIn already going for Tech 3 land. Owl pulls his units back but leaves his comm forward. Maybe he thinks that with the range upgrade he's okay, but Aranei has more range. That said, this looks like a bad position for Aranei, whose spam is a little further back and who looks like he might be swarmed by Owl and his spam. Aranei down into the yellow, he's going to be forced to retreat. But he's got enough spam to hold Owl back if Owl should try and take advantage of it. T2 for Funk. Owl picked off a few of Aranei's units, but most of Aranei's units are massing up here, so that'll probably be fine. And the lines have drawn apart again for a while. This is nice though. BlIn has just walked through here, as we mentioned he could, and set up a factory, but Funk has seen it, and he has sent a few Thams to take it out. But the Thams can't shoot through the factory, and these Medusa can just shoot over the factory and kill the Thams, which they do, so this little emplacement of BlIn's survives. But air skirmish goes on over here, but air hasn't really played a big part this game. Aranei's factory here is cleared up by furthers from Owl, but Owl is pushing back the eco for Aranei is pushing back the eco for Owl. He's taking out these mexes here. There's still a radar here which you could clear up, and Owl decides to get the advanced range as well. Further is still expanding back here. He's reclaimed some but not all of the mexes, but he does have a decent number of Ilshis. Now this is still a T1, but BlIn's gone straight to T3, so he's finished T3, and that could start coming out onto the field quite soon. Aranei has just started T3, but that's still a long way off. Again, Owl and Aranei exchanging fire here. Funk starting the gun, which should finish quite quickly with his T2. Ah, well, this is fun. Straight after getting the advanced range upgrade on his gun, Owl is going for the chrono dampener. I like that upgrade. We don't see it often. Freezes units of the enemy within a certain radius of your comm. And Aranei is trying to get work done while Owl's units aren't reacting. and he kills a few of them with a few nice overcharges. Is he going to force a cancel on the chrono from Owl? He finds that he's in range and so is Owl. He's trying to take out some of the supporting engineers, and he does, making it take longer for Owl to get his chrono. But Owl's spam comes in, and Aranei's spam has fallen back, and this feels like a bad position for Aranei, who is forced to retreat a little bit, having been knocked quite some way into the yellow. Some Ilshis from Funk lead his attack. This is still all T1. The T3 hasn't started coming forward just yet. But the Ilshis are outnumbered there, and Funk pushes in. Aranei starts the shield, but Owl is coming. Let's have a quick pause to go to split screen to see what goes on in these two fights. So Funk fighting the good fight with his T2 and his comm in here. He should be fine. There goes the chrono. Look at it, freezing tanks for Aranei, and Aranei is forced to cancel the shield because he can't stop all this. Funk continues with his sort, not at all happy with Aranei's play, feeling that Aranei is losing. Is he losing? Sure, he's getting chrono. Ooh, look at that freeze. That was painful. He is slightly below Owl in eco, but he's getting decent shots off. His units are surrounding Owl so that when they can fire, and Funk looks like he's driven that lot off, so we can probably return to single screen in just a moment. Look at these delicious freezes though. Funk continues to fight, and BlIn's trying to get round again, but he's not getting a great deal done at the moment. And Owl has been surrounded, and Funk just resigns. He doesn't like it, he leaves the situation to Aranei. Let's see how Aranei handles it. So here's Aranei, all on his own after Funk's unceremonious exit. His units keep getting frozen by Owl's chrono, but Aranei's got the hits and Owl hasn't, and suddenly it's Owl who looks to be threatened rather than Aranei. He's sending in a few blazes, but they keep getting picked off by the overcharge and by the supporting units under shield. But in comes some loyalists from BlIn. We wondered where his T3 was. Here it is. But Owl's down into the red. The loyalists are focusing the spam rather than the comm. Owl pulls away. There's some good shot blocking here by BlIn with his loyalists, getting in between the two comms and stopping, but it doesn't do enough, and the explosion from Owl not only takes him out, but also the loyalists. And Aranei is suddenly looking in a much better position than he was. Not economy-wise, he's still 80 behind, which is pretty brutal, but he's got his own hobbies coming to the front line now. However, during that fight, we've had a drop. A brick has been landed in Funk's old base, right in the back by BlIn. And there's a T1 PD to stop it, and a couple of T1 bombers, but that'll take some time to work through a brick. Funk getting particularly displeased with Aranei's play, saying that he was supposed to kill the base rather than the comm, because now BlIn has both the bases. So Aranei's units are pushing forward quite well here, but there's now loyalists coming in to Funk's old front line, and Aranei is bringing units back here in order to try and cut them off. Hey, let's use this. I don't use this tool much. Okay, draw a little arrow. So here we have these units from Aranei coming to cut Funk off, but he's got T3 in there. The brick has been killed eventually, but at what cost? Meanwhile, there are Harbies being produced in our old base. Aranei's comm, with its 5 vets and full Eon gun, is a force to be reckoned with, but enough Harbies can still swarm. It hasn't got any further upgrades beyond the gun. It hasn't got a shield, hasn't got Chrono. That's just a Harbie coming around the back to deal with these mexes. 250 mastery. This is horrific. Look at the total mass collected, that he's 90,000 ahead. But Aranei, almost all alone, keeps pushing. Meanwhile, he was unable to cut this main force off. While he's not being able to block this force, these loyalists are just getting into Funk's old base, and they're going to tear it up. Sure, there's now some more T1PD in there, but it's only T1PD, and these are Tech 3 units. Aranei has been taking out the point defences here, he's taking out the mexes, and he's pushing in. He's got a decent horde of Harbies, he's got his comm. Will it be enough? And what will he do when he's got his comm in here after whatever fight happens, because he's not getting much in the way of reinforcements? Couple of T2 units, couple of Harbies, but it doesn't feel like enough, especially with look at the assistants on this factory pumping out the Harbs. And what do I see here? I see bricks, pairs of bricks being flown around the bottom into Aranei's base, while this force, of including some loyalists, pushes in this way. I think we might have to go to some split screen and watch the two events play out. Aranei pushing in. The bricks land. At least 2 of them do, and they start opening fire, and there isn't really much to defend. There are Harbies being produced, but 1-on-1 bricks beat Harbies, and there were already 2 bricks right here. Some bombers come back to help out, and point defences are being thrown up, but they're only T1, and 2 more bricks are landed as we watch. Meanwhile, in comes Aranei. His units and his comms swarm around here. There's a couple of Harbies here, but that's a nice overcharge. One more of those and he'll take both the Harbies if he can. And he isn't taking much damage. All 4 of these bricks are still alive though, and they're carving a hole in his base. Down go the defensive Harbies, but more are being produced. There is another one rolling off as we speak, as are several more blazes. 2 bricks walk in from BlInChIk's base. And Aranei feels like he might have bitten off more than he can chew. One of the bricks that's attacking his base is down, but look how much he's lost. He's lost mexes, he's lost factories, he's got units coming out in defense. He's also got an Oblivion up, but it just doesn't feel like it's enough. He's also brought a force in here, but that's mainly Urshis and T1. I don't think there's any T3 in there. Somehow though, Aranei is holding here. Has he got anything coming to help out? Not really, so it's just him and this tiny little force against an entire base, and there's more bricks coming in behind him. In his base, he's finally taking out the last of those bricks, but 2 more have come up and are shooting from the other side. And there's more of a force supporting it with more bricks, more deceivers to stealth it, more tanks. But he's taken out the T3 HQ, and so these can't produce blazes anymore. These bricks have stopped. Aranei saying, I don't have enough APM for 2 bases there. But bricks are being dropped in, but what can Aranei do? Well, I'll tell you what he can do. He can shoot all of these things, because okay, why is he going around here? Does he think that that's where Aranei is going to go? He knows that Aranei is here. He doesn't know that Aranei is pushing this way. Meanwhile, this force has done its damage in here and is moving on up here to get less well defended eco. So let's go back to single screen. Now, some reinforcements have come up, but a lot of them have had to stay back here to deal with this. So if this can join up with Aranei, he might be in a good position. But right now he feels a bit exposed. He's got one flak. And there's now T3 air producing whalers, so this could be a problem, except BlIn's only just found where Aranei is. I mean, he knows he's there, but he doesn't have any radar coverage. In fact, we can see that BlIn's radar doesn't cover... He's got no radar anywhere. Madness. And that could hurt him, but his whaler is now raining fire down. He's going for the flak first, and he kills it. So now there's no anti-air in here. Is there any back here? There's one flak right the way back here, but this whaler could do damage. However, Aranei is charging in. Oops. 2 whalers, 3 whalers. He can't possibly survive this, but they're focusing the shields rather than the comm. And BlIn's comm is still here and not moving. And don't forget that BlIn has been here all game. He hasn't got out, and he's naked. Ha! Aranei says, come on out from time to time. And Funk is obviously still here because he's at least pinging the comm. And Aranei has the Eon double gun. And he's coming in, and the whalers... They could have killed him by now, but they haven't. And Aranei is just blasting his way through here, chasing the comm. He's got BlIn focused. And BlIn is down into the yellow as Aranei pushes in. Bricks surround him. But he's got Harvey's absorbing a lot of the fire, and now it's just the comm versus the comm as they chase out. Corsairs shoot down raining fire on Aranei, but is it going to be enough? Aranei's damage output is so much higher than BlIn's comm, and BlIn is down into the red. And BlIn explodes somehow, despite having literally 8 times the eco of Aranei, having all these things raiding through his base, having smacked bricks. He's got more bricks here shooting into Aranei's base, owning all this portion of the map. Somehow Aranei got his comm and a bunch of units into BlIn's base and killed him. How on earth did he manage it? Aranei's base was getting wrecked. Aranei had an 8th eco. So after Funk resigned, I thought it looked like it was going to be a surefire win for the Cold team. What did BlIn do wrong? Tell me in the comments below. While you're down there, please don't forget to like, subscribe and obey. I am the Commissar, and I will see you next time.